I'm missing something. Let's take a look.
Hallowfall is one of the new zones in the War Within expansion, with huge world-building implications that could potentially be a gateway to a new era of Warcraft. In this zone, we meet the Arathi, half-elf, half-humans of the Arathi Empire. But who are they and how did they get here? Okay, bear with me for a second as I break this down, since a lot of this information is told to us but never shown to us, or given...
I think I might have spaced out when I was doing this quest. Or, you know, it was an yeah, that's what it was. Optional ride with Farron to the wall, or you can just arrive at the wall. I'm pretty sure I just flew over and arrived at the wall. So,
really any
out.
sort of fleshed out context. But here's what you need to know. Okay, around 2,800 years ago, there was a conflict in the Eastern Kingdoms called the Troll Wars.
Bro. Type 1 in the chat if you remember the Stromboli Keep hardcore streams. Stromgard Keep. Oh my gosh, dude. We've had some good times. We've had some good times in this area in hardcore, man. Oh. Yeah.
In this battle, the Amani trolls rampaged across the northern reaches of the continent. They fought the High Elves and the first great human nation, the Empire of Arathor, led by the king of the Arathi tribe, Thoradin. These two forces teamed up and the High Elves taught some humans how to wield arcane magic, and they just absolutely destroyed the Amani trolls and became best buds. After that, the humans spread out and became all the different human kingdoms that we know today. Okay, so that's all the old, already established lore.
Okay.
The new lore being introduced in the War Within is that after the Troll Wars, a group of High Elves and humans left to go establish a new empire on a new continent, which was located east from the Eastern Kingdoms. What is this new continent?
Very east.
We have no idea right now. There might be some hints to it in the Dragonflight expansion and a book about a night elf pirate who says that they traveled across the storming sea to a new, undiscovered land, and in the Uldaman dungeon, there's another book mentioning a continent called Avaloren, which may or may not be this new continent. There's another story in Dragonflight about a green dragon named Aranithria,
maybe that's the next
traveled
expansion.
Across the storming sea and was never heard from again. The rest of the dragons assumed she died, but her presence can still be seen in the Emerald Dream, suggesting that she is just chilling out on some undiscovered side of Azeroth.
Okay,
furthermore, there's
next
evidence that
expansion.
Arathi dragons are a thing, which is mentioned in quest text. But okay, back to the Arathi. The humans and the High Elves established a new empire, crossbred, and are now half-elf, half-humans. But they don't call themselves half-elves. They simply just refer to their race as the Arathi. We also know the Arathi Empire worships something called the Sacred Flame. This is a powerful magic that is a combination of light, arcane, and some fire magic, and it's manifested through belief, just like the wielding of just traditional light. So to be clear, it isn't just pure holy magic, but the entire empire worships this sacred flame. Some fanatically so, in a manner that is very reminiscent to the Scarlet Crusade. You know, extreme zealots who have an unshakable faith, who hate outsiders and want to purge the unclean. The most important thing about the Arathi is that they're led by someone who we know as the Emperor. And while we know barely anything about the Emperor, we do know his name, as there's a giant book in the Hallowfall zone that can be translated, which tells us his name is Emperor Thoradin the Ninth, who may be a part of the lineage from the first leader of the Arathi. This emperor has a special connection to the sacred flame and interprets prolific visions from the light and commands his empire to put into motion these prophesized events. This is a common trope for the light. Grand visions of a destiny that a person must fulfill to benefit the cosmic force of light.
The light is your destiny. My destiny is my own!
By the sacred flame, this is forbidden footage. Do not look at it. Around 15 years ago, it is said that the Emperor had a vision that there was going to be a great final battle against the Light and Void, called Renalash in a far-off land. So an expedition was sent to capitalize on this prophesized event, led by Valisa Steelstrike, who was given the role of leading the expedition after she decimated an uprising within the Empire. They floated across the sea on their airships powered by the holy, sacred flame, expecting this expedition to only last a few years at most, clueless to their impending fate.
Complete side note to everything going on. I can't wait for the Priori of the Sacred Flame Mythic Plus dungeon. I hope it's next season. Priori is such a fun dungeon, and we haven't been able to do it at all because it's not in the first season of M+. I can't wait, man. It's gonna be sick.
During their travel, there's a giant storm, then a flash of light, and then...
Crystal sword tip.
Through a moment of divine intervention, the expedition was transported deep below the earth in a gigantic cavern which would later be named Hallowfall, where there is a giant sun-like crystal embedded in the top of the zone. As of making this video, its origins are currently unknown, but the light-worshipping Arathi instantly fell in love with it and named it Beledar, the Emperor's Vision, the great crystal that their glorious leader had prophesied them to find. What we do know about Beledar is that it's somehow connected to the world soul of Azeroth, and the Radiant Song that many characters heard that led us to this continent and kicked off this expansion were also heard by the Arathi. And so for the next 15 years, the Hallowfall expedition established a foothold in this blessed land, creating a civilization in what we can assume is very similar to their empire back home. And they have done some great and efficient construction work, building multiple outposts, watchtowers, towns, farms, and churches, all in the span of 15 years.
Impressive.
But unfortunately, all the mages that accompanied the expedition to make portals to go back home died in the storm. All except one, who doesn't even know how to cast portals. So the expedition is stranded here in Hallowfall. I mean, yes, they could leave the zone if they really wanted to, but these light worshippers are willing to fight and die in defending Beledar. But this faith in the sacred flame has been put to the test over the past couple of years. The Arathi call it the Day of Darkness, the day Sargeras stabbed his sword into Azeroth during the Legion expansion, which somehow led to Beledar twisting into this void state. Ever since,
dude, everyone is saying it's the tip of the sword, and then Blizzard says it's not. They should have just made it the tip of, that would have been sick.
The crystal in Hallowfall has been shifting in and out of its corrupted state at seemingly random times that can last moments to entire days. The Arathi call this Beledar's Shadow, and during this time, the enemies of the Arathi and their sacred flame emerge from the shadows to attack. Creatures like the deep-sea raiders called the Kobis, chaotic void elementals, and the Nerubians from Aj-Kahet.
The Arathi will be but the first to fall. You are nothing against Aj-Kahet.
When Beledar shifts, the Arathi must stop everything they're doing and act in accordance. The heroes of the expedition in this time of chaos are the Lamplighters, Arathi soldiers whose mission is to light the Dawn Towers to ward off enemies with the sacred flame and keep the citizens safe.
Those who oppose the Emperor will fall at our feet. Glory guides my hammer!
During the main storyline of the Hallowfall Zone, we meet the Great Chiron, the leader of the Lamplighters, and Faerun Lothar, who is a Lamplighter who serves as our guide and is a part of the royal Lothar family. Arathi believe that it is through their faith in the flame alone that Beledar has not shifted to permanent shadow, but they're currently fighting a losing war. That is one of the reasons why when we arrive to Hallowfall, the Arathi don't just attack us on sight, because they're desperate for aid. But not everyone in the Hallowfall expedition is accepting outside aid. In the Priory of the Sacred Flame dungeon, there are members of the expedition who are more fanatical in their beliefs, and think their faith in the sacred flame alone is enough to overpower their enemies, which includes us.
The sacred flame will cleanse your transgressions!
Hey, what the fuck did I do?
Okay.
They want to conquer all of Khazulgar and the rest of Azeroth, and one of their methods in doing so is using Beledar's light for necromancy.
Damn,
and
we
are
gotta take 'em
raising
out.
slain soldiers in light-infused undeath.
No
This dungeon
Arathi
is so
leaves the
cool,
Emperor's
man.
service, even in death.
Which, I know, sounds like an oxymoron, but raising someone in undeath with light is different from resurrection, as we've seen before with the character Kalia Menethil. The members of the Priory raising undead in a desperate attempt to fight back against their enemies is like super heretical. So we work with the friendly Arathi to kill them all. Just kill them, kill 'em.
The Empire will see you
Oh, thanks, man.
burn.
On the other hand, members of the Hallowfall expedition have fallen to darkness and accepted Beledar's transformation to shadow and have formed the Order of Night. And since this is the War Within, of course Xalatath has influenced the cult's formation and corruption.
The Harbinger shall claim Hallowfall. Let night be unending!
By my holy hammer!
And that's pretty much all the super important lore that we currently know about the Arathi. Once again, Blizzard has done some great world building and a cool zone to match. You'd be amazed at all of the small little details used to flesh out the zone and the Arathi's culture. There's this book called the Big Book of Arathi Idioms, and this gives you context to a bunch of different phrases they use, and I went to town and I was blessed with Dunnell's kindness of fresh meat and cheese for me to enjoy after I achieved Tanir's Ascent, where we performed an Aegis Wall with my boys. Me joining the Lamplighters really was the light spark that gave my life meaning. And, yeah, that's it.
Hype.
Thank you, everybody, thank you. Also, the Arathi tame and ride lynxes, which is cool.
That's actually pretty
This is
dope.
entirely a headcanon thing, but I like to think that the taming and riding of felines is a residual part of elven culture that
Oh, yeah.
carried on into the Arathi, since the High Elves were once the Kaldorei, who, you know, rode night sabers and stuff.
Makes a lot of
also,
sense.
a very groundbreaking and entire franchise.
Dude, am I the only one that thinks tigers are the sickest mounts in WoW? Press 1 in the chat if you agree with me. Swift Zulian tiger, Swift spectral tiger. Panthers are technically a form of tiger. Kinda. Like anything with the tiger panther model, I'm a sucker for, man. I'm a sucker, dude. They're just so cool.
Defining bit of lore that came from the Arathi is that there's this book that explains their viewpoint on the cosmic forces. So before this, we've had two views of the cosmic forces of the Warcraft universe. One is in the Chronicle book, and one is from the Brokers in Shadowlands. But now we have a third cosmic theory of the universe, which is a combination of these two previous charts in something called a hexateron, also known as a 5-simplex, which is a 5-dimensional geometry, regular 5 polytope, and
Dude, this is how complicated the lore is. That's why no one gets it.
basically the cosmic forces in the universe can be mathed out into a 3D space that's like a D20, and there are planes that are a combination of forces in the universe, like a light and fire plane or a life and void plane, which gives us an explanation for the Arathi harnessing the sacred flame, which is a combination of light and arcane. Okay, and
Bro, I literally try to do my due diligence and actively go out of my way to understand what is going on. And it's like even the people making the videos explaining on what's going on, like Platinum WoW, it's still just like, what is going on? like quite literally, it's just like, what is happening? Ad? Okay, I can pause for the ad. That's fine. Let me know when the ads are over, guys. All right, let's keep watching the video now that the ads are over.
Arcane. Okay, and that's a thing, I guess. Okay, what are some things I don't like about the Arathi, and things that fill me with trepidation about the storytelling behind them? It stated that the Hallowfall expedition's kindness to us is out of desperation, and if we were to ever visit their empire, they'd most likely attack us on sight. This makes me wish our relationship with the expedition was more complex and strained. Kind of like our relationship with the Mantid. They're simply the enemy of our enemy, and that's why they work with us. They're not necessarily nice. And I just have this burning desire to work with a faction that isn't all sunshine and rainbows, and we are not best friends. Like, look, man. If we're gonna be inspired by Warhammer, let's just take it all the way and make them intolerant and backwards radicals. All of them. I mean, the lore of the first Emperor of the Arathi is literally just the lore of Sigmar ripped straight out of Warhammer Fantasy. Just a 100% carbon copy, pretty much. Let's just commit to the bit and copy all of the badass stuff from the universe. Another thing that I worry about with the Arathi is that, while I'm a big fan of their lore in the War Within so far, this has gotta be the expansion with the most unanswered questions going into it. Especially when it comes to the
unanswered questions in World of Warcraft, the War Within, as of making this video. What exactly is the Radiant Song? What is Xalatath's history? I guess it's going deeper than the Shadow Priest weapon. Yeah, definitely a lot deeper. Okay, why did the earthen not turn to flesh? Okay, who is the Emperor? Where is the Empire located? What is Beledar? Beledar? That is true. I think it's a crystal. Why is Beledar shifting to Void? Well, it's probably because Xalatath's trying to get her grasp on it and take over the light, but Beledar is resisting the darkness and returning back to lightness consistently. What are the Harenir? What is the Black Blood? When did Beledar arrive, or has it always been there? That's a good question. It probably arrived because there's like cracks here, right? It probably like came through at some point. Yeah. When does the end of the raid even take place? Does Zal still have the Dark Heart at that point? What's up with the two ethereals in Ashkahet? What is the unseeming? Are the giant roots Elunar? Yeah, whatever word this is. Elunarin? Elunarin. Why does Ascension make Nerubians appear more humanoid? That is usually a Titan trait. Huh. Maybe because they're working with the Xalatath? Who knows?
Arathi. And I hope a lot of these questions get answered by the end of the expansion, especially Beledar. And while having mysteries to speculate on can be fun, this method of storytelling can bite Blizzard in the ass if it takes too long for the big reveals to actually happen. And I think this is one of the biggest problems they struggled with in terms of storytelling for the Battle for Azeroth and Shadowlands. And with the Arathi, by the light of the flame, I wish I could just shake one of them and ask, what is your continent called? Where is it located? Does the architecture all look like this? When did you start getting fanatical with the sacred flame?
Just ask
Why?
him.
Tell me more about your emperor. What does he look like? How many souls are sacrificed to him every day? Huh? Here's some crayons and a piece of paper. Just draw them for me, please! Because, like, I'm kind of just assuming the emperor is some Arathi dude sitting on a throne, but he could look like this, or this, or this, or this, or this, or this, or even this. And I hope that's answered at some point during the World Soul Saga, or at least we get some sort of visual information. But for now, I'm just gonna stay here in Hallowfall and interrogate more lore out of these Arathi.
Hey, you! What is your empire's tax structure like, huh? Hey, where do you think you're going? What is your emperor's favorite flavor of ice cream? Tell me now!
Bruh.
Excellent!
Bro, I am not gonna lie. I am more confused and have more questions after watching this video. Like, ignorance is bliss, huh? Like, before this video, I'm like, I think I got this. I think I got everything kind of dialed, you know, the light, the dark, the Xalatath, the, you know, the RP, all this stuff. I'm like, I think we're kind of good. After this, I'm like, I know nothing. I know nothing. That's what's going on.